Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. I'm a little more awake than my last video where I rambled, but I posted it anyway because who really cares? Is it art? I don't know. I'm gonna call it art. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to come back. I have a little more clarity. I'm more clear here. I can breathe. I can talk. I might sound slightly better. I don't know. But here I am. I wanted to talk about something I plan on doing tonight, something I did a couple weeks ago, which was my friend Logan, who I maybe talk about too much. Logan, I swear I'm not attracted to you sexually, but I just think you're a great guy. And maybe that just made it weird. But Logan's been really good to me. He listens to my silly videos, and hopefully there's some artistic inspiration. And I know that he is also an artist, and he's done way more in the world of art than I have. And he's a cool guy. And here's the main reason I wanted to talk today, or at least for these 10 minutes, was he works at a place called Bear Creek Distillery. And I hope, Logan, I hope that's okay that I said that. And if it's not okay, shoot me a text and I'll take this video down. But this place is a very, you hear the name of the place, and it sounds like a very white hipster place. It's a distillery. They do vodka and they do whiskey. I think that's it. And he goes, "Hey man, come on down. There's a bunch of single ladies here." And I didn't want that to be my only motivation to go, but it sounded like a fun place. And so 2 weeks ago I went. And it was funny to me because for several reasons. One thing, Bear Creek, if you're familiar with the Denver area, it's west of Denver. There is an actual Bear Creek, and it runs out of the mountains into the city. And it's a creek. And but Bear Creek High School is like in the southwest and western quadrant of the Denver metro area. And so I expected this place to be out that way. It's on South Broadway, which is not too far off of downtown. It's a couple miles south of downtown, 2 or 3 miles probably south of downtown. And it's very busy there. There's a lot going on, a lot of businesses. And so when I go, okay, it's an unusual place, but it's still, there's a lot of development going on there. There's a lot of hipsters. There's a lot of millennials that live down there. And so I go into the place, and half the clientele was black. It was something I really wasn't expecting. I was fine with it, but I was not expecting it. And I see Logan in the door. He's kind of manning the door, and he's taking orders. And hey, man, I'm trying not to take up too much of his time because he's busy. It was a busy place. And he takes me to a table with 3 wonderful black women. Like I said, wasn't expecting it, but doesn't matter. But it is something, especially in Denver. Denver, about 12% of the population is black, which is kind of low for a typical urban area. If you've been to places like New York, Chicago, even Los Angeles, usually there are more black folks in the urban centers of this country than Denver typically. Actually, our biggest minority in Denver is Hispanic, is Latino. So when you go into a club that's not like a typical, what I'm going to call a black club, a dance club, it was kind of unusual. But it was great. I met 3 wonderful women. I met Natalie, I met Dion, and I met Tanisha. And I met another woman whose name I forgot because I suck. And we did some dancing, we did some drinking. The other weird thing about this place is they shut down at 8 o'clock. And I think they have to because it is a residential area. They're like a block off of Broadway. There's high rises there. There's new lofts. And there's also old homes there too. So I think they have to shut it down at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night because people have to work the next day and it can't get too loud. So that's a little weird too. But I had a great time. The Moscow mules are very, very delicious. Yeah, I plan on going again tonight. That's about all I have to say about that, I guess. Logan, I thought I'd have more, but I can round out the video with the next 5-6 minutes about the reason I didn't go last week. Last Sunday, I went to a memorial for my friend Allan Goodwin, who I did a video about a couple weeks ago after he died. And it was unusual, but it was great. We had it, Allan lived, and his widow, Trish, wonderful woman, and his son, Taylor. I don't know where Taylor lives, but Trish and Allan lived. That's a weird sentence to say, but it's accurate. In Colorado Springs, a really nice home. I'd visited there a couple times. Allan and I, like I said, did road comedy. Well, I didn't say it now, but I've said it in the past videos. Allan and I did road comedy together, and we became friends. And so we had his memorial, of all places, at Looney's Comedy Corner in Colorado Springs. So you meet all these comics. So it's kind of weird, right? It's like these are people who like to make people laugh, but we're also here for a very sad thing that happened. And I figured it would be what it was: a lot of laughs and a lot of cries. And you know, you get to sometimes the problem with comedy, and I think entertainment in general, and I've said this in past videos, like we all want to support each other, but we also want to be the best at it, which means by nature it's a competition, and it can get very catty and ugly. And I mentioned in my last video when I was talking about Jill Tassie and other people, I didn't talk about the other people, but a lot of people will just be nasty to you and blackball you for no real reason whatsoever that I can think of. But anyway, that's the past video. We're talking about this now. But most of the people I ran into, I was cool with. They were cool with me. It was fine. And I'll tell you something I said, and I think I've mentioned this. I'm sure I mentioned this in my video about Allan specifically, but we all got up to the podium. We all said some things. And I told a story about when we went up to Rexburg, Idaho, which is 97% Mormon. I know I've talked about this probably ad nauseum on this channel, but it was a really great experience. It's 11 hours to drive and 11 hours back. So 22 hours in a car with a guy I didn't really know that well. And we got along really, really well. I describe us both as angry liberals. We don't get things that have happened like Trump. We don't understand it. We're like, how? And we talked back and forth. We both had slightly, I'm not going to say abusive, but my stepfather was, you know, he was a functional alcoholic. I've mentioned that a lot of times here too, and no reason to get into details about that. But, you know, that was a thing for me when I was growing up. He had an extremely abusive stepfather, so I couldn't even compare to it. But we talked about that. We talked about, you know, things we're proud of, things we're regretful about. We had real conversations, and it was great. And so two things I mentioned on the podium that went between me and Allan on a couple. We did a few road gigs, but that was the big one. You know, almost an entire day of driving, 22 to 24 hours of driving. He said, you know, John, you're not that funny, but you're a good road partner. You don't sleep, you don't get high, and you're a good conversationalist, and you're a good listener, and that's as important as being funny on stage. Just get funnier on stage, you'd be perfect. It's like, okay. So that was funny. I said that on the podium. The other thing I mentioned on the podium was a joke that I've also mentioned before here, where Allan, he threw this joke at me at the hotel saying, I'm thinking of opening with this. What do you think? And I was like, and he told me the joke, and I said, I think that's funny. I go, don't know if it'll work here. You know what the crowd is. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I'm going to probably do it anyway. I go, yeah, go for it, man. You know what to do. And so we do the gig. It's a theater that holds, I think, about 250, 300, but it was super cold that night. It was like 0 degrees, I think. I think when we got to Rexburg in the afternoon, it was like 7. You know, it's like December 8th, dead of winter. I guess not even technically winter, end of fall, but it was still very cold there. About 125 people show up into the theater, though. It was nice. And they told us we were going to need to work clean, and they said 16 and up. And I said, well, okay, well, I can say some jokes that a high schooler would understand and be able to handle. There were kids in the audience. People think this is family night because it's a small town, and they just think that everything's clean. It's a dry county. No liquor available at all. So no lubricants for laughter. But I get up, I do my 30 minutes, I do pretty well. Allan gets up, he starts with the joke he told me. And the joke is, he yells out to the crowd, where are my sisters at? And a bunch of women go, woo! He goes, where are my wives at? And a bunch of women go, woo! He goes, where are my sister wives at? Dead silence. Except for me. I am howling, laughing as hard as I can in the green room. Because if there's one thing, and I said all this at the podium last week, if there's one thing that comics like better than watching their friends succeed is to watch them fail. And it really was. But then, you know, Allan kicked ass the next 59 minutes of his hour set. He did fine. He recovered quickly. He knew what to do. And then he sold a bunch of merch at the end of the night, and it was a great experience. But yeah, that was basically what I said. So yeah, there's I guess we divided that into 2 parts. So shout outs to Bear Creek Distillery. Shout outs to Trish Sitterson, who is still dealing and will deal with her husband's death and a big loss to the comedy community. And Trish, I will once again reach out to you because I said this at the podium too. This kind of ends for most of us as comics and friends. The pain is real for us, but the pain goes away a lot faster because we weren't in his lives every day. His son, his wife, his widow, they have to go on and they have to deal with that pain every day. You know, he was 58 or 59, he was not old. So it wasn't very expected. And so I told the crowd and I told Trish, be available for her, and Trish, reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. You know, we've all said, hey, we care. Make us prove that we care. And when you need us, reach out. So there's another video for you. I hope you guys enjoy it. Try to think some more stuff to talk about. Maybe the Palestinian tent crisis, which is just upsetting. Maybe I'll go to that and do that later today. And I've got some other things to talk about. So I'll try to bust out a couple more videos in the next day or two. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It is early on Sunday. I'll do my best. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.